So again, we have our account classes. From there, we could go take a look at our item classes. And so if we go over to item class, so I have multiple item classes that I've set up. Again, I believe recently Intuit has added support for item classes, but previously they did not have a concept of item class. I believe it's something that you have to turn on in QuickBooks as a separate option or separate setting to enable item classes. So we have had that concept in Cloud for quite some time. And so it's a way to segment your items. So I can break up items. In this case, I have, this is for a cigar store. So I have classes that are broken apart for different items that I'm going to sell within that store. So obviously I have my cigars. I may sell some clothing. I may sell cigar cutters. I may sell humidification devices, humidors, lighters. So I have my item classes. I can add a new item class. So again, I would go through the setup screen, name this class, whatever additional items. So we'll call it accessories. And so here's where I can actually tie this item class to a QuickBooks Online account class. And so I will tie this to my accessories account class. I can then set some defaults. So that's one of the benefits of using item classes is whenever I create a new item and I specify that item is a member or a part of this item class, we will then prompt the user to roll down class defaults. This is where I assign those class defaults. And so for me, what I'm doing for these accessories, all of these accessories or anything that's going to be within my accessory item class, when I create an item and I assign it to this class, I want it to default to, or prompt me to default the item type to inventory. Now again, I can change that at a later date on an item by item basis. But again, this is just rolling down or suggesting defaults within this item. Serial lot type, I'm going to say that is none. I can specify that it's taxable. I am going to use my each unit of measure. So then I will have an each selling unit of measure, and I'm going to also use an each purchasing unit of measure. And again, we'll go into unit of measure setup in here shortly. I can also specify a price method. Currently, this is not used, but again, I can go ahead and set it. Valuation method is very important. Again, this is the default for that class. We do support LIFO, FIFO, average, and standard valuation methods. I'm going to use FIFO. Again, that's the default, or that's the standard for QuickBooks Online. And then I can set some income account, COGS account, and asset accounts. Again, these are class defaults that I'm setting. So when I add an item to this class, it's going to prompt me to use the defaults from that class. Go ahead and click Save. It's going to add my item class over on the left-hand side. And so again, I can go through and I can modify, create additional item classes within my setup for whatever additional classes that I need to have based off of how I'm segmenting my items. I can come back and make any changes to these item classes after the fact or later on, keeping in mind that any changes, if I have items already assigned to, let's say, this accessories item class that I've just created, and I go and I change my valuation method from FIFO to average, that is not going to have any effect on existing items that are part of that item class. That would only affect any new items that get added to the system, and I specify this item class. Again, it's going to prompt me to roll down those defaults, and at that time that valuation method would now show as an average to set as the default. So again, it doesn't modify any existing items that may currently be in that or be assigned to that item class. And again, I did mention that, I will mention again, we can also set inventory or GL accounts separately. We can set it by item. We can set them as defaults on the class so that when you add that item to the class, it will prompt to roll those account setup down as well. So that is tying your item class to your financial class or the account class over on the QBO side. And again, it's strictly for reporting on the QuickBooks side. So it's not required. It's not something that you have to set. I could actually leave this field blank, clear it out and save it, and it would say fine. Or when I set it up, I don't have to set it. It will allow me to set it up without using that account class setting as well.